Hello, my name is Domi and I'm a sports coaching student. Welcome to my video series on talent in sport. In this series we will explore what is it that makes a talented athlete. This is the fourth video of the series and today we will explore early specialization and diversification and try to evaluate their effectiveness. So let's begin with the definition of early specialization. Caruso defined it as early start age and involvement in one sport while not participating in many sports, early involvement in focused practice, high intensity training, and early involvement in competitive sport. Cote and colleagues showed the process of early specialization on this model. So we have a young athlete entering sport and moving straight into the early specialization where they experience high amount of deliberate practice and low amount of deliberate play with a focus on just the one sport that they play. From that, the next step could be elite performance, enhanced physical health, or enhanced enjoyment. Some of the reasons for early specialization include a parent's desire to give their child an edge, labeling youth as talented at an early age, pursuit for scholarship and professional contracts, the sporting goods and services industry, and the expertise research. Malina states that these factors interact with the demands of the sport systems. Finley identified that an increasing number of parents, coaches, and even children consider playing only one sport from a young age virtually all year round as the best way to produce superior young athletes. Rees and colleagues have found that a super elite sample of rhythmic gymnasts have experienced a reduced involvement in other sports compared to their elite counterparts. They have also identified potential costs and risks related to early specialization from both non-elite and super elite data points. And these include but are not limited to less enjoyment, high time demands, restricted activities outside of sport, exhaustion, overuse injuries, and increased risk of dropout. Malina has also found that young athletes subjected to early specialization have also suffered from social isolation, overdependence, and burnout. Committing to just one sport at an early age throws them into the deep waters of the complex world regulated by the adults. Abernethy and colleagues recommend that professional training in a particular sport with exclusion of others should be postponed until the athlete reaches late adolescence, as this would optimize their success whilst minimizing the risks of the psychological stress and injuries. Andy Murray is an example of an athlete who emerged from early specialization. He started playing tennis age 3, he played his first competitive tournament at only 5 years old, and by the time he was 8 he was competing with adults in the Central District Tennis League. Now he's a professional tennis player and he was ranked number 1 by the Association of Tennis Professionals for 41 weeks and finished as the year-end number 1 in 2016. However, this is not the case for the vast majority of young athletes who go through early specialization. Latorre-Román and colleagues have found that there was a high dropout rate both in women and men, though the dropout rates of women were higher than men. Perhaps there is another way to develop young athletes without putting them at this much risk. Diversification seems to be a much more appropriate and safer approach. Caruso defined it as playing as many sports as often as possible, and Cote and colleagues have showed the process of diversification on this model. So we have a young athlete entering sport and moving into the sampling years where they can either participate recreationally or progress to elite performance through sampling. During the sampling years, the athletes are exposed to high amount of deliberate play, low amount of deliberate practice, and involvement in several sports. From there, the athlete can follow one of the two paths. First, they can move on to their recreational years, where the proportion of deliberate play and practice remain the same, but the activities focus specifically on health and fitness. The potential outcomes of this might be recreational participation, enhanced health, and enhanced enjoyment. Second, they can move on to the specializing years, where the deliberate play and practice are balanced and the involvement in several sports is reduced. From there they can move on to the investment years, which look exactly the same as early specialization except at a later age. The potential outcomes of that are elite performance, enhanced health, and enhanced enjoyment. And this is the pathway that Abernethy and colleagues have recommended as the most suitable for young athletes. Diversification exposes children to a multitude of sports with a focus on playing instead of practicing. It also provides an environment that helps to nurture a genuine passion for sport. This allows productive and structured practice to follow when the athletes are ready for the professional specialization. Caruso also believes that physical and cognitive abilities may develop quicker when playing multiple sports instead of just one because of the potential crossover effect. For instance, instead of only developing hand-eye coordination such as in hitting and throwing in baseball, the child playing baseball and soccer can also develop foot-eye coordination, footwork, and running mechanics. This example reminds me of the Continuum by Woodman and colleagues, which displays different benefits that can be gained through diversification. And this can also assist the athletes with talent transfer or early specialization if the first sport they committed to doesn't quite work for them. For example, Lizzie Arnold was originally a heptathlete, She took part in the Girls for Gold scheme in 2008. Initially, she thought she would be suitable for a sport involving horses. However, UK Sport identified skeleton as a good option for her. She began competing in 2010 and won consecutive Olympic gold medals in 2014 and 2018. She is the most successful British Winter Olympian and the most successful Olympic skeleton athlete of all time from any nation. To find out more about the Girls for Gold scheme, I encourage you to have a read through UK Sports article. I will attach a link to it in the description down below. Do you think that early specialization is worth it for the minimal chance of making it in the elite world? Let me know in the comments down below. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Goodbye!